Greetings, everybody. In honor of Banjo-Kazooie making it to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's roster, we're going to do the entire episode as character voices.
Who?
Ah, yeah, Ah. The end.
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem.
I could not do that for a whole episode.
The best part is all you need is those 4 or 5 different ones, and we can just piece them together, cut and paste style, indefinitely.
Oh, if we knew Morse code, you could kind of sync up the short bursts and the long bursts, and it would be the most challenging episode ever.
To translate.
Yes.
From Morse code, creature sounds, into English. Well, that's an interesting idea. I don't know how well we'll implement it. Welcome once again to another episode of the Gaming Lovers Podcast. I'm Brendo.
I'm Jem. It is episode 73. Can you believe it?
I can, because I looked at the number. It's very easy to believe when you've seen the other, or actually recorded the other 72. So I can actually believe it. I can.
It's one of my favourite numbers. It's like a weird factoid, but I actually really love the number 73.
Is there a reason behind that?
Well, I like both 7 and 3, so it's both.
Traditionally, I have said that 13 is my favourite number because it forms a B if you write them close enough together. But if you do that with a 7, it could just be like a fancy B. So welcome to episode Fancy B of the Gaming Lovers Podcast. I'm Fancy B Rendo. And we're off to the races already.
Oh, my wordie.
This past week, big news dropping with the Nintendo Direct. Every quarter or so, Nintendo like to drop a whole lot of surprises in our lap all at once. Quite often things that nobody saw coming. And this time around is no different. Lots of news coming out of this for Nintendo Switch owners in particular. But there's been some interesting collaboration between Microsoft and Nintendo. We got told by the developer of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to play an Xbox if you stayed tuned afterwards for the Banjo-Kazooie demonstration.
On how to play.
Very strange hearing him say you should go play this on Xbox. I don't trust anybody in this friendly cross-promotional interactions. Somebody's going to be stabbed.
Go play someone else's console. It's what?
It's weird enough when, a developer tweets out, oh, congratulations, Microsoft will tweet out, congratulations to Santa Monica for making God of War winning Game of the Year awards or whatever.
They're not bitter at all.
It's you feel okay, we have to do this or we'd look like jerks. But when it's an actual person on a video telling you, yeah, this character's in our game, go play their game they're from on something else. Very strange.
They did have kind of a chuckle at the fact that they were doing that, though, in the video. We'll get to that in the main body of this episode of the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Before we jump the gun, though, it is time for Gaming Goals.
It's a very long introduction this time.
Yeah.
And I guess that would have a reason for that being we've beaten a lot of games this week. A lot of games have fallen at our feet, defeated.
Yes.
Moved on and
a lot
would
of
never be
big
touched
games.
again.
Some big, beefy games have been on our backlog, and it is so satisfying to kind of get to that end and be like, yes, I can cross that off the list, or maybe start a new game.
Yeah, New Game Plus is a thing in this day and age, and that's frequently delaying us from playing new games. Plus, DLC. Quick question. Do you find more enjoyment from sitting down and investing 80 hours into a game? Or would you rather play 8, 10-hour games over the same period of time? What do you get more enjoyment from, do you think?
Probably the one long game. If I'm investing that much time into it, I imagine I really enjoy it. So I'd go with the long game because I would have spent so much time in it. Then it's one of those games that's really sad when it ends because you become very attached to it and it's hard to then pick up a new game and start fresh. A lot of games that have short burst play, I just don't get as attached to. I have fun,
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lot of party games. I do enjoy playing them, but I'm not as invested in the gameplay as I am with, say, a really beefy RPG that draws you in for, 20 plus hours.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would have to go with the beefy one.
I've just been thinking about that this week because I do like so much about the video game industry. I like so many different types of games. I like so many different developers that anytime a new game comes out, I'm like, oh, I want to try that one time. And I think it's to my detriment because I think I spread myself too thin sometimes. And it costs a lot more money to buy 10 8-hour games than it does to buy one 80-hour game.
Exactly. So you always get on me for having multiple copies of the same RPGs but on different consoles, right? But I've played them so many times. I've gotten my money's worth out of those games. And there's plenty of short burst games that cost just the same amount that have been played once, if that now just sit on the shelf.
Well, it's still about the experience that you got from that game. So it doesn't have to be just a one and done. Maybe you'll come back to it in 15, 20 years, like myself and the good buddy the Falcon are doing with Silent Hill 4. Sadly, no updates on that just yet. He is on leave, though, coming up. He has some free time, so there will be Silent Hill 4 coming up.
I have a proposal as far as that.
Okay.
I think you two need to do a special episode. Bring your good buddy the Falcon on to the Gaming Lovers podcast and have you guys talk about your favourite games, all things creepy.
Oh, we went through just our favourite games, full stop. We've been frequent co-op partners, frequent rivals, and not only that, we also like to sit down and couch play a single-player game quite often, so there'd be a lot to draw from on that.
Totally, but you've got Halloween just around the corner too.
Halloween!
So I think that would be the perfect opportunity for a bit of good buddy the Falcon.
Well, we'll have to see what... We can barely get our schedules together to actually catch up and play games.
Well, you've got plenty of time to organise it then.
Have a recording. Speaking of short play games, though, that you just mentioned that phrase, and it's not exactly a clean segue, but we'll dive into this before we get to our bigger, more chunky gaming goals. We also played a party game this week that was a barrel of laughs.
Yes.
It almost killed you because you are an asthmatic. The laughter was coming on thick and strong, and I don't think your lungs were ready for it.
No.
On the Nintendo Switch, we played a game that just came out called Heave Ho.
So much fun.
Basically, you can play single player, you can play with up to 4 players, cooperatively trying to reach the goal. And if you know the Pokemon Geodude, that's basically what you are. You are a head with arms, and you can move the arms and your independent triggers, work the independent hands, and it's just a case of grabbing the right surface, swinging, and grabbing the next surface.
Yep.
Or if you're playing with 4 people like we did, having a large chain of people, then yelling at everyone, Sarah, let go of your left hand! Only your left hand! All right.
And then she lets go of her right hand and everybody falls to their death. I think that was where I probably worked against you guys because I was having so much fun laughing at the chaos and seeing people make mistakes that I then started doing it deliberately and started going out of my way to ruin everyone else's.
Sabotage.
Yes. It was just so funny, and the art style kind of reminds me of like Muddle Dash. Very indie. It's like kind of very trendy at the moment, that kind of graphic design that Heave Ho has.
Yeah, no clean edges. It's all like rough drawing, basically, and it looks great and fits the mood. And you, in particular, were laughing a lot at the voices that these little creatures have. You can choose 4 different voices.
Yep.
And one of them sounds like an absolute dummy, and that was the one you were picking.
That was the laugh you had, and it set me off. I didn't realize it's the one I had chosen until I heard it in the game, and I'm like, that's my character's laugh. And they all had really funny, just over the top laughs, and the faces on your avatars change depending on whether you're in kind of a safe space or if you're like doing something really risky. Then they look petrified. Little details like that made it really fun and amusing for me.
Perfect pick up and play game. It is very cheap. I believe US dollars it's about 10 at launch. It's all you need for a good time. If you have a group of friends coming over, you have a Nintendo Switch. We recommend it, and that's our recommendation of the day. That's not a segment here. I just made that up. But it could be going forward. Who knows? Mm-hmm. But gaming goals, proper. We set the tasks last week, and we have delivered for a change.
Yes.
Would you like to lead?
Everybody, I get to play Greedfall. Yay! That was the stipulation. It was hanging on the line. It launches let's see, it drops
when this podcast
like midnight
is
today,
released,
and then,
we'll be able to play it.
Yeah, so as soon as this is done, I'm heading out the door, people. And yeah, I have been labouring away at Fire Emblem Three Houses for a while now. I believe my final hour count was 112 hours.
112 hours.
Yeah, just a small game.
Out of curiosity, because I've been tracking your progress loosely, I haven't been watching you play because...
No, because I've been kicking you out.
If I intend on playing a game like this, it is spoiler deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so staying away from it is what I planned on doing for now, but I've been keeping track of those numbers on your save file.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think howlongtobeat.com has for the time to beat the main story in Fire Emblem Three Houses?
Oh, 80 hours maybe?
No.
No?
No.
90?
No.
No.
You're going the wrong way.
75.
Nowhere near.
70.
Keep dropping.
69.
Well down from there. Well down.
65.
No.
64.
It's 43.
What?
Supposedly, if you just want to experience the main story in this game, you can do it in 43 hours.
Oh, yeah, if you don't do any side quests or spend any time doing all the little side support building scenes or spend time making sure you've got the exact right equipment and that you're forging and repairing equipment and that you're working on the battalions that you have. There's a lot of little fiddly things on the side that you can invest time into, and I did that.
I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing. I am using this as an example of when you find a game that you like, you must do every little thing that is possible. Even though there's no trophies or achievements on the Nintendo Switch.
I am such a completionist.
You want to have tea with everyone. You want to do every little side mission. You want to make sure everyone has enough equipment on hand and in backup.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a thorough player. You took 112 hours to play through Fire Emblem Three Houses, but you enjoyed it the whole way through, I believe.
There's still a couple of questions I have, though. They didn't answer everything for me about my character, which is kind of annoying.
Well, that's because you only played the story of one of the three houses, right? So in about 224 hours of gameplay from this point, Jem will be able to give you the full review of Fire Emblem Three Houses. No?
I have started a new game plus. So this time, instead of the Blue Lions, I'm now in the Golden Deers with Claude. And thankfully, because you carry over certain perks, not everything gets carried over. I'm not as strong as I was. Otherwise, I'd be super overpowered, which I kind of wish I was. I love when you can do that in Persona.
Oh, yeah.
But I do have a lot of other things kind of unlocked already. So my teacher level, I basically boosted straight back up. So that gives me a lot more time to do all the other little things. It gives me more energy points to spend on free days, things like that. And I'm blitzing through a lot of the conversations because it's all stuff that I've read. So I'm just saving it for when I do get to new content, then I'll actually pay attention again. But yeah, now that I know how to play the game and I'm really strategic, I'm flying through the battles and things like that. So yeah, I hopefully won't be spending anywhere near as much time on my second run through. But yeah, Greedfall is probably going to distract me from that anyway.
The good thing is, as a new game plus, it can be like a secondary title now for you. You don't have to give it your full attention. You can just do an hour here and there as the mood takes you. Congratulations on getting that launch day and investing so heavily in it. I'm quite proud of you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's just nice to have a big target taken care of because you wanted to beat this game before Greedfall launched, and considering it comes out tomorrow and you beat the game yesterday, we were getting a bit close.
Oh, I was a bit nervous, especially because we had so much on this week between surprising my sister with a surprise baby shower, and we hosted a sleepover for a friend who had never experienced a sleepover before, so we threw her one of those, and so I'm exhausted.
We've had no sleep.
But I still managed to play Fire Emblem. So what have you been up to?
Well, as you have no doubt known from the gaming goals updates of the past, at this point, 6 weeks or so? Red Dead Redemption 2 has been a primary target for me. I did take a break from it for a little while, but finally, my redemption has been redded and deaded. Twice.
Nice.
The epilogue is what I was up to last week. I have played through all of that. I do think it is nearly essential if you want to experience everything this game has to experience. I wasn't sure at the start. It felt like it was just sort of tacked on and just a little bit of a extra chapter that's sort of not completely necessary, but it is basically part of the main game. The credits don't roll until you finish the epilogue itself.
So it's not just fan service?
It's not just fan service, and if you want to play through Red Dead Redemption 2 and then start Red Dead Redemption 1 in chronological order, it would flow in quite nicely. So it's good to see how characters end up in the situations they are in the first game. Even though it's the second game, it's still confusing to try and word it that way. My brain gets muddled a little bit. Good stuff, though. I liked some of the slower-paced missions that the epilogue did throw my way. Sometimes you get a little bit sick of the gunplay, and if my biggest complaint about Red Dead Redemption 2 was the horse riding from A to B can be a bit bland when you're going halfway across the new world. My other complaint is that quite a few missions devolve into what looks like a game of Time Crisis. And you've just got characters popping up behind barrels and you're shooting them. And then 6 police guys on horses come after you and you shoot them. And then 6 more police guys jump out from behind this rock and you shoot them. And it's just like, Rockstar games do things well when it comes to mission structure in Grand Theft Auto, in Red Dead Redemption, in those sort of open world games where they sort of give you different styles of objectives for a lot of missions. And I like that. I like the variety, and I think just too many of them end up just being riding away from somewhere with people chasing you and you got to shoot them. And in the epilogue itself, you have a lot more different type of missions, and I like those. They were slower paced, they were much more chill, and very good for my fatigued brain to handle at all hours of the night.
Yeah.
So Red Dead Redemption 2, I had a great time with. It came out last year, and it was in contention for a lot of Game of the Year awards last year. I do not think it was better than my experience with God of War. So I at least can stand by the fact that I really enjoyed that game last year. On the Gaming Lovers podcast, however, we do Game of the Year awards based off what we've played in a 12-month span, regardless of when it was launched. So we'll have to wait and see how it fares in those categories at the end of this year. But I do like the characters in that game, and it was magical, and it was a well put together story. So that is what I was really there for, and it did deliver on that.
Nice.
Now, you didn't just have Red Dead 2 on your backlog.
No.
You've been streaming Subnautica, which was on hiatus for a little while, much to the chagrin of your fans that were watching and chatting with you as you streamed live.
Definitely was a trend that we noticed last week on the podcast that, well, look, I can play every day for multiple hours and then I can go back to work and not have time to play Subnautica for hours. That was put on hold longer than I expected, but we did have some fatigue issues. I had some nasty headaches, and when I want to sit down and play a game for 3.5 hours, I don't really want to play with a headache. So I kept bumping it back.
Especially when you're streaming as well.
Yes, I would like to think I'm trying to be at least somewhat entertaining as I bumble my way around the ocean floor.
Oh, does Delta live?
You'll have to tune in to the streams to find out. There's a lot of personality in my creations in that game. Depth Percepti, the Cyclops. Seamoth Delta, I'll give you a little spoiler. Delta did live.
Yay!
Delta was never in threat. In fact, he was pretty much relegated to being the forgotten child by the end of the game, thanks to Big Shrimp, the prawn, who became the new favourite. I finished Subnautica.
Congratulations!
A monster 4.5 hour session. I beat Subnautica. I did it with very little input from any guides, any tips, tricks, hints from anybody, whether they be my good buddy the Falconer who told me to play this game, and I thank him so much that he did because it was fantastic. One of the best video game experiences I think I have ever had. Ever. Now, what was good is that with my bumbling idiocy, I had collected so much useless stuff, or things that I perceived to be useless, until I needed them at the end game. Just little bits and pieces that I'd picked up going, why do I have this seed for this plant? I'm never going to use this. I'm never going to plant this anywhere. I'll just stick it in a locker. Maybe it'll just stay there until eternity. But things like that actually came in helpful. So my kleptomania in the ocean came in handy in the end. Saved me some time, and it was pretty darn good. I did not expect the story in this game to be as top-notch as it was. When the primary gameplay loop involves exploration and resource mining to build upgrades, you sort of think the story is not going to be that important. It'll set the scene. You've crashed on an alien planet, and you must survive. But there's so much more to that. And it's so good. Now, one thing that I did not do in this game, apart from build a scanner room, which now that I've beaten the game and I looked at all the Kotaku articles of beginner tips for Subnautica, build a scanner room. I never did it the whole game. There's so many things I did not build, so many things I did not upgrade, but yeah, it was my experience. So imperfect it may have been, but it was enjoyable. You can, once you beat the game, you can send what's called a time capsule into space, or into the planet, into the watery depths below as you escape. And that time capsule can be found in other people's playthroughs. Ooh. They find them around the world as they're exploring. They'll hear, oh, what's this little thing? A time capsule. And you can put whatever item you want inside. So you can put like a high-level upgrade, or a rare resource, or this sort of thing.
Or a rock.
To help. Why would you put a rock in it?
So that they get excited thinking, yay, someone's left me something really helpful. And it's a rock.
That's very mean. I only saw one time capsule in my entire time with Subnautica, and the people who were watching me play recommended I do not open it because it would affect my progress through the game. Because if I unlocked one of the higher level upgrades for my vehicles, I could potentially skip an entire section of the game. So they said, you probably shouldn't touch those. So I didn't. But I made sure I left my most valuable item through my Subnautica time.
Was it your pet rock?
It was not my pet rock. Stop. What are you so obsessed with sending rocks to people? At least send something useful like I did and send alien feces.
Oh, I don't know if that's any better.
After all my time of bumbling, losing my direction, trying to find my way and getting stuck repeatedly, I found, 30 hours into the game almost, a blob of alien feces for the first time. And ever since I found that, I found my way perfectly in my last session. I did all the items I needed to do without any problem because I had them on board already. I made the upgrades that I required to do, and I survived and finished the game. All because of my lucky poop, which coincidentally, sticking to the naming concepts of all of my vehicles, my rocket I escaped from the planet was called Lucky Poop and was a disgusting shade of green-brown. So I sent my lucky poop in a time capsule to somebody out there. Somebody out in the big wide world is going to get my lucky poop, and the message I sent them, along with a screenshot of my character squatting, saying, hold the lucky poop for good fortune. Because it worked for me. Everything was going badly until I found the lucky poop. So that is my legacy. That's the stamp I have left on Subnautica. Great game. DLC coming very soon. I believe it's in early access on PC, or it may even be out already. When it comes out on PS4, I'm probably going to play it like day one, because as much as I'm like, oh my gosh, this game goes forever, I finished it. I feel empty and hollow.
We finished 2 big games very close together.
I have no life direction anymore. I need my lucky poop. I sent it away. Oh.
That's called flushing the toilet, honey. So I gotta ask.
Yes?
Now that you've finished both those 2 beefy games, this year has been a pretty big game year, 2019. Have you had a favourite so far?
Subnautica would have to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did experience some frustrating glitches and things like that. I lost about half an hour's worth of progress in my last session because I fell through the floor and just plummeted 8 kilometres down until I couldn't plummet no more.
There was another game that was very much like that, but more set in space with exploration that you were raving about.
Yeah. The Outer Wilds, still my front runner for 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
As good as Subnautica's oh gosh, that's hard. Actually, I'm thinking about it. Oh, well, that's a dilemma I can face in December. I don't have to worry about that now. But
think about it, and we'll see if you've thought of your favourite by the end of the episode.
I thought that was going to be an easy decision, and it's really not.
I think there was one last thing I saw you play this week, and it's a mobile game. Throwing you under the bus again.
No.
The new Pokemon mobile game launched this week.
Pokemon Masters, because we want to be masters like the best that no one ever was.
And it has already raked in
like $26 million.
Yes.
In a week.
In a week.
Microtransactions.
I really need to learn how to make mobile games.
I looked at, because, of course, they've got launch specials. So you can buy gems at a much better rate than they will be in the future. I looked at the exchange rate for how many gems you get and how much money you pump into this game for the gems, and I said, who would ever buy that? Well, apparently, like millions of people.
Yes.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yes. I don't know what that really says about us as a people and whether we have patience to actually just spend time, leveling up naturally in a game, or, the fact that we just want to pay to have it done easy.
It's so weird because I haven't had any trouble progressing through the story in this so far. And the only reason I can imagine why people would be spending money would be to unlock characters quicker. But then once you've unlocked everything, there's no point in playing. So really, you're just accelerating your time to stop playing the game.
Yeah.
And you're paying for it. And that is
a lot of games
so
are like that, though. I remember my friend that loved Tiny Towers that paid her way through, and at the time there was only so many different levels that you could unlock.
Yeah.
They've added new ones since, naturally. Got to keep people playing. But then she was done with it and then moved on to a different game. It's like you literally pumped so much money into this game, and now that you've done that and everything's opened, you don't care about it.
Yeah. All I've been getting in Pokemon Masters is, the daily bonus for logging in, and you get X amount of gems for showing up each day out of 7 days or whatever.
It'd be so funny if they had my face.
Collect 300 gems. Well, one's enough for me. You've derailed my train of thought now because of that. I'm just thinking of how many gems I actually would want because, you could get some to do the chores, and some to do the garden. That'd be very helpful.
Either they'll all just be really lazy and there's
oh, no.
an army of
5
me.
times the mess. What have I done? I've been logging on to get the daily bonuses and unlocking, on average, about 1 character a day. I really want to unlock Sophocles and Togedemaru because he's like my favourite Pokemon. And until I get him, I'm not stopping playing the game because I want Togedemaru.
Does anyone have Corfish?
Nobody has Corfish, but he's only my second favourite Pokemon now, so who cares about him?
Oh, poor Corfish.
Poor Corfish. So I've been logging on daily, and I do not want to become a slave to that daily login, though, because I have not deleted that WWE game from my phone, but I haven't played it since we had that intervention episode. The same with Elder Scrolls Blades. I still get daily notifications saying, please log into us for free things. And I couldn't care less about those at the moment. So I'm kind of happy about that. Then there's part of me that thinks, wait, if I had have actually logged in every day since I stopped playing that, I would have so much stuff for nothing. maybe I should be doing this every day, but yeah, I wrestle control back from myself and say, no, we're not being a slave to these things. So for the time being, I'm playing Pokemon Masters. However, if it does make that much money in 1 week, I am worried that even just by playing it for free, I'm supporting the very thing that I hate in video games, and that is microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that depressing note, that's gaming goals.
So that's everything this week?
That's everything for this week.
It's not a depressing week. You've achieved much.
I've also been playing a little bit of Persona Q2, but that is a very slow-moving game, so I'll give you an update on that in February next year.
Well, is it going to be on your gaming for in Feb next year, is it?
Better not be, because I'd probably start it fresh.
It'd take up all your time. You wouldn't have room for 3 more games.
No, thank you.
All right, I think it's time for us to jump into our main topic as we discuss Nintendo Direct for September 2019 right after this.
You're listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Want to join the conversation? Visit thegaminglovers.com. Record your comment or question by clicking on the button on the right-hand side. And you could be featured in the next podcast.
Another Nintendo Direct streamed in September this year, and a lot of news broke. A lot of new footage was shown of upcoming games that we knew were coming, but we wanted more deets about. So much to be excited for. Maybe a little bit excited for more Animal Crossing.
I don't think anybody does these reveal videos as well as Nintendo. They keep them well-paced. Nothing outstays its welcome. Even if it's a game you don't care about, it moves on relatively quick and we're on to the next thing. And then something else captures your attention. And then, oh, look at this. This is exciting. Oh, what a surprise that was. And then Deadly Premonition shows up and you're like, what the heck is happening?
And everything's usually pretty cute and fun in typical Nintendo fashion. It's been interesting though too, especially with a lot of games being ported in from various other consoles and other IPs. It's just fascinating to see how Nintendo has changed from this kind of almost family-friendly bubble to now just everyone in the pool.
There are some games that I never dreamed would ever arrive on a Nintendo console, and I'm all for it. It's just surprising, very surprising.
So we got to see the next bit of DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with Final Fury's Terry joining the fight, or facing the Fury, I believe, as the line said.
Now, people fall onto one side of a two-sided argument when it comes to Terry. Either people are like, yes, this is excellent. He's very important in the history of video gaming. He's been in multiple different series. We've talked about guest characters on fighting games. He's been in Fatal Fury. He's been in King of Fighters. He's had plenty of time to be around the video game audience. But then there's some who either just didn't hear about him or some that have accused him of being Ken in a hat.
I'm a bit more on that side of the argument. When I saw him, I'm like, really? He's not very exciting. Because some of the other characters, like Joker, was a huge surprise. Banjo and Kazooie, another huge, awesome surprise. I was kind of hoping it would continue that trajectory. But then they dropped the news that after this gamer pack of 5, which you can buy kind of as a bulk DLC pack, then they would still be adding new fighters after that, but it wouldn't be included in that $25 price.
So because 3 had already been released, basically, 1 had just been revealed, Terry himself, and there was only going to be 1 left. You were a bit disappointed. But now that you know that there's more character slots, you're fine with it.
Everyone's loving these announcements and like arguing over who should be added. I think they're thriving off of this kind of culture of the internet, like frothing at the mouth, wanting to know who's getting added next. So, you know, it's not a bad decision as far as continually just adding new and more characters. They can now in this world of digital downloads. So they're finally kind of taking advantage of that.
To be fair, I was a little bit disappointed because I think there's enough human characters in these games already. I want more weird characters. I want, like, Q-Bert or someone to join the fight and he can only hop diagonally. I don't know. I just want characters that are weird. I don't want people. That's just... That's my 2 cents.
Unless it's a person that can do weird things.
Unless it's Dr. Robotnik.
Because Joker's another person, technically.
Just give me more Sonic characters. That's okay. You knew where I was going.
Well, we have discussed at great length in, I believe, our previous episode of the Gaming Lovers podcast what ones we wanted to see added.
And Terry was not one of them.
No, he was not. So we were a little both bit sad, but you never know. Number 5 is still alive. Still
Come
hasn't
on,
been
Kiryu. You got
Hey,
this.
wait. Didn't you just say you didn't want another human character? Kiryu Kazuma is a human fighter type. Granted, he has wrestling moves, but still. I caught you.
You did.
Nintendo also announced more games from the Super Nintendo Entertainment System are getting added, and they are part of the Switch library that you can download already now. So it was like one of those, and you can download them now kind of, or tomorrow downloads, but I believe they're available now as we're recording this.
No, you must call it its proper name, which is Super Nintendo Entertainment System Nintendo Switch Online. That is what they called it. Super Nintendo Entertainment System Nintendo Switch Online.
How about I just call it the SNES?
SNES on Switch. Okay, much better. Much better. There's actually quite a good list of games. It feels a bit like a mini SNES all over again.
Yep.
When they're releasing, 20 games all at once? There's a good variety of games on there. Not all of them are what you'd expect. Of course you're going to have Super Mario World. Of course you're going to have A Link to the Past. Of course you're going to have Mario Kart. But there's also a few weirder ones in there that I didn't expect to see. And I'm all for it. Give me some variety. I didn't just want the mini SNES again, but on the Switch.
Yeah. You got to have, I think, a good mix. And make sure that it's also value for money for those that are shelling out so much to have that Switch Online membership.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that definitely caught my attention during this Nintendo Direct, though, was the fact that a game that we have been playing co-op together, the sequel of which is coming to the Switch.
Divinity. Original Sin 2 comes to the Switch and launched on the day that it was revealed, as they like to sneak on there every now and again. I've had a great deal of fun with Divinity.
Yes.
Now, we play co-op, split screen. You can play co-op online as well. But the fact that you're on a Switch, if you're playing portably and we're trying to play split screen, could you imagine the crunch that would be sitting on the couch next to each other?
Our heads would be like side by side.
Fun little stuff. But we've been enjoying Divinity. We're probably going to play Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't think it'll be on the Switch, though, personally. But for those who have never played it and only have the Switch available, I think it would be a good choice. I want to be a skeleton man.
Do you remember Game Freak's Town?
Yeah, I was not looking forward to that, but now it's back.
And they've changed the name.
Oh, it's got to be better than Town, right?
Little Town Hero. Slightly better?
Just reminds me of like Little King's Story that I played on the PS Vita. Little Town Hero doesn't look good. Personally, is that just me? It just doesn't look good.
I don't know. Maybe there's something that's just not coming through in the trailers. You just don't know. Sometimes you can't get everything that makes a game great just from seeing little snippets.
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's made by Game Freak. Game Freak make Pokemon games. They know how to make a good RPG. They know how to make things like, have you seen the trailers for Pokemon Sword and Shield? National Pokedex issues aside, it looks good. Graphically, animation-wise, everything. This game doesn't tick any of my boxes. I will pay you if I don't have to play it.
Well, it's also got the music composed by Toby Fox from Undertale, so there's a lot going for it. You might want to give it a chance.
One thing. It's got one thing going for it. Toby Fox.
You just don't know, though. It could be like a dark horse that just comes out of nowhere and it blows people's minds.
A dark horse rides on in.
So that's coming on October 16th.
You know what looked good?
What?
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
I was happy with the new stuff they showed on
And
that.
the multiplayer.
The fact that there is like a 4-on-4 team-based version of chaos going on. It looks chaotic.
That looks fun.
It does look fun. And I even liked the stuff they revealed on this single-player aspect where the different levels on the hotels have different themes. You've got an Egyptian world. You've got I don't know. It's the only one I paid attention to was the Egyptian one. But they've got multiple themes. There's like pirate ship one. You've got all sorts of fun stuff. I love it. I love it. And I really enjoyed the other 2 Luigi's Mansion games. So hopefully number 3 is just as good, if not better.
I love that it gives you the option to play multiplayer, either locally or online.
Yeah, 8-player local.
Yeah.
That is cool.
And getting more common, like the Nintendo Switch is being pretty awesome about that, of allowing a lot more people to play couch co-op. And I wish more consoles would do that.
Yes, we do wish that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there were 2 very surprising announcements on this, and I don't know which one caught me off guard more. I would like to say that Deadly Premonition has been mentioned on this podcast before. It has been mentioned on an earlier episode when we were talking about our guilty pleasures, and I think I called it my favourite best worst game that I've ever played. Deadly Premonition is a weird game. It's sort of a combination between a survival horror shooty thing and then an open world city like GTA, doing side quest fetch missions. It's nowhere near involved as GTA. I should not have used GTA. Maybe Driver. Go back to Driver, like the first Driver. Deadly Premonition is weird. It has got an interesting story, but really not much else going for it. I didn't think there would ever be a Deadly Premonition 2. And not only is Deadly Premonition coming to the Switch with its, what I assume is the director's cut version, arriving as Deadly Premonition Origins, Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, is coming next year. What?
Something for you to get excited about, that's for sure.
I don't know if I want to get excited about it. It was not a good game. It was weird and it made me laugh in ways it shouldn't have.
You like playing bad games.
Oh my gosh. Should I though? This is what I was talking about. I spread myself too thin. Do I need to cut ties with the Deadly Premonition franchise? I'm not sure.
You're going to play it. I just know you are.
I probably will. The other surprise from this that caught me well off guard, forget Terry. He was not expected to show up, but when he showed up, it was fine. The fact that Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, is back.
Yes.
How many years? Why has that come out now on things? I believe the last time this series showed up was on original Xbox. Original Xbox had Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Academy, and yet again, it's another example of a game that I played last year on my laptop, and now it's back. Every time I play an old game, it gets remastered into a better version, and I shouldn't have wasted my time playing it.
I think sometimes games like that are just like a sign that Nintendo and Microsoft are really buddy-buddy at the moment. There's a lot of games that are coming from Microsoft, from Xbox's history, that have been made available now on the Switch. That and, you know, with Banjo and Kazooie, being in Smash Bros, them openly promoting them people to go play the actual games that are available on the Xbox.
It's very weird.
During the Direct. Like, that is a big deal. A little weird, but, you know, I think they're teaming up to kind of, like, fight off PlayStation.
Well, speaking of all that, I mean, the Jedi Knight games weren't developed by Microsoft. The only reason I mentioned Microsoft was because I know that Jedi Academy, at the very least, had a launch on that.
Yeah.
I don't know what else it launched on, apart from PC. But the fact that you did mention that Microsoft and Xbox are getting along quite buddy-buddy. The fact that Ori and the Blind Forest, a Microsoft-produced game, is getting a Switch launch.
Yep.
What the heck? What is happening?
See?
And next we've got Super Mario on PlayStation. Congratulations.
No, it'll be on Xbox.
Okay. I was trying to pick something absurd, but I probably should have stuck to that little playground there. So, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Yes.
What about Doom 64?
Oh my word, that is such a nostalgia hit right there.
Again, games that I'm sure nobody was clamouring for. They're like, yep, let's remaster it and stick it on the Switch. Everything's going on the Switch these days. The Switch started off with the smallest library on launch out of any of these consoles, and I thought it was just going to be like any other Nintendo console where you've got, you know, half a dozen AAA Nintendo-made games and nothing else is good to play on it. Now you got friggin' Doom 64. 64? What is happening with this Nintendo Switch? Doom 64, of all things.
Yes, that comes out November 22nd.
Oh my gosh.
So you can go and relive your childhood if that's what it was, if you're anything like me and that was what you played. Although I think I played earlier editions of that on PC at school more than on 64.
Well, it was probably just Doom or Doom 2.
Yeah.
I played Doom 2 a lot later than I probably should have. I was playing Doom 2 as one of my primary games in 2003. So that's a little fun fact for you. I was part of a map building community.
Continuing on with games that are being brought over to the Switch, Overwatch. Coming to the Switch
yes.
October 15th.
October 15th. A mere month away. Something that was rumoured to be happening based off the fact that there was a Nintendo Switch carry case with an Overwatch logo on it that was for sale, and everyone's like, oh, it's going to come out, it's going to come out. And that's all it takes sometimes to reveal the little surprises.
Assassin's Creed The Rebel Collection is also going to be available in December, just in time for Christmas.
Real talk. Two of my all-time favourite Assassin's Creed games. Black Flag, number 4.
Yep.
And Rogue. They were both very good, particularly because they lent so heavily on the naval combat. That was one of the best things about that series at that time. So, thumbs up. If you haven't played those and you like pirating, get in it.
If you like pirating.
In real life, not as virtual game, but just...
Is it pirating like DVDs and things? You wouldn't steal a car.
Tetris 99 2.0 has been updated. Includes a new Invictus mode, where only if you have ever won one of the 99-player matches are you allowed to enter the Invictus mode and fight against other people.
Like high rollers.
Yeah, it's the high rollers table, all right. The best of the best in there. I think I would get nowhere near it, so I'm not even going to bother trying.
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is coming next year to the Switch.
Speaking of 80-plus hour games that I have not played yet, originally it was out on the Wii. I didn't have time to play it then. It got launched on the Wii U. Didn't have time to play it then. Now it's on the Switch. So maybe by the time the next console generation comes around and it ends up on that, I will give it a shot.
Speaking of games on the Wii U.
Yep.
One that I started that I was enjoying but then got very thoroughly distracted by other games that came out around a similar time.
Oh no.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Sharp FE Encore.
I was hoping you'd forget the Sharp. And I was going to actually, it's called Sharp FE.
I wasn't going to say hashtag.
Hashtag Fire Emblem.
I'm a musician. I know what a Sharp is. Thank you. That comes out January 17th. So something to look forward to in the new year, that's for sure. I think that's going to be on my hit list.
There is a lot of Wii U games that have made the jump to the Switch. And I think that's a good thing because the Wii U was underappreciated.
Totally.
And it was entirely Nintendo's fault for doing a Dreamcast with it.
Yeah.
But there were some good games that not many people played. So a lot of them have already made the jump. Maybe we'll have a little chat after we've run through these headlines. I have a couple of games that I think definitely do need to make the leap to the Switch from the Wii U. But Animal Crossing New Horizon. You've played more Animal Crossing than I have, so you are the resident expert on the gaming lovers. What do you think? How does it look?
It looks very similar to New Leaf, to be honest. Like
That was the DS one?
Yeah, that's what I had on the DS.
Okay. 3DS.
3DS. Well, I play on the 2DS because I hate the 3D feature. But New Leaf, yeah. I mean, there's some things that look very borrowed from the camping Animal Crossing that's on the mobile.
Yep.
And so it looks like a blend of those two, where you're on a deserted island and you're starting from scratch and you're building up resources. That's very much like the Pocket Camp game. The thing
so it's like a combination of the two, you think?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. And I love playing those games, but they do stress me out because they use real time. And if you stay away from the game too long, if you put it down for like a couple of days, you get punished for it. And I don't like that. I don't like being penalised for having a life.
We were just talking about being a slave to the daily login.
Exactly. And that's what it does. You know, it would be one thing for like mobile games where it's a little easier to kind of like play 5 minutes here and there as you're travelling. And I know that, you know, the Switch is portable, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
And even like with the DS, I found that to be a slog to try to remember to play for a little bit each day. because all those menial tasks, like even if you want to say, oh, I'll play for 10 minutes, it does not last 10 minutes. It takes a little longer to do those things. And because certain shops are literally open during the daytime in real life hours, so it works on whatever region clock you're set to.
Yep.
I like to play a lot of games in the evening, so most stuff would be shut by the time I was playing the game. I'm like, this is annoying.
Can you just change the clock on your system?
I probably could, but I didn't bother doing that.
Let's move on.
Anyways, so depending on if it still, I'm guessing it still uses that system.
Yep.
I don't see them changing something as big as that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I will be happy just playing the mobile version because that's been a really fun, satisfying experience, and I haven't spent any money on that. So
cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very proud of that.
If you have ever wanted Dark Souls combined with Kirby, you can get it for free. Super Kirby Clash, a 4-player, free-to-play, boss-killing game. Doesn't look like it'll be on my hit list, but
It's free to play.
Free-to-play is always a danger because it's free to start. May not be free if you want to keep playing. We've also got Trials of Mana, the remake of the third game, making it at long last in 2020, in April.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting. I haven't played any of those games and possibly never will at the rate I'm going. Return of the Obra Dinn is another one that I do think I will play. From,
Speaking of pirates,
I believe it's from Lucas Pope, the makers of Papers, Please.
And you're unraveling the mystery of what happened to the Obra Dinn, and the art style is so unique. It's so interesting and just it stands out compared to a lot of other video games. So it'll be a nice addition to the Switch's library.
Yes, I do like the fact that I can play it reliably on a console, which is nice. Daemon X Machina had a demo that is out now. If you want to get your mech fix on, you are more than welcome to, and it is available right now.
Then you've got Rogue Company, which is a team-based shooter from Hi-Res Studios that's coming to the Switch in 2020.
And if you want to play the single worst Devil May Cry game, Devil May Cry 2, for some reason, is coming to the Switch. Just Devil May Cry 2. Just which one should we do? The second one. Okay.
Maybe they're working on the others. You don't know.
It's so confusing. I didn't enjoy that game anywhere near as much as I thought I would when it launched, so I haven't played that since the PS2 and probably won't play it on the Switch. So that's just I'm sorry if anyone's offended by my opinion, but I didn't enjoy Devil May Cry 2.
Out of all those things that have been announced, what are you most excited for?
Oh, we've forgotten the very biggest announcement. The Curry decks.
Yes. Sorry. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Look, this is a weird thing to get excited about, but we really love Japanese curry. It's one of our favourite dishes that we learnt kind of fairly recently how to cook.
Whether it's curry ramen-based broth in a noodle thing or if it's an actual sauce that goes with crispy katsu.
Chicken that's been breaded and deep fried. Yum.
We love our Japanese curry. And the fact that in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you may have lost some of the Pokemon off the National Pokedex, but I think that is a necessary sacrifice to have a curry dex where you can cook different types of curry and eat it with your Pokemon.
Oh my goodness. We're so addicted to curry. So when we saw that, I'm like, I literally started drooling a little. Like, oh, I really want curry. And now that we've brought it back up, I'm seriously like, all right, can we have curry for dinner?
Well, we know what's for dinner. At least that'll help that decision later on.
I always want curry. That's like the easiest decision ever.
Out of all that stuff announced, you were asking, Fire Emblem FE Sharp Tokyo Mirage Super Beats, whatever it's called. We bought that on the Wii U. It's kind of a black mark on our shameful backlogs because I never played it at all. You started like 45 minutes of it.
I know. I played for a couple of hours, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go check that save file. Well, that was a nervous laugh.
I guarantee there's at least an hour or two logged in there.
Okay. If it's less than an hour, you cannot buy Greedfall. Are you willing to take that bet?
I'll take it.
Oh!
And if I'm right...
Oh, no. I don't get to buy Greedfall.
no, that's too harsh.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say you have to delete Banjo-Kazooie off of this Super Smash Bros.
No, I don't want to. All I was being was cheeky. I didn't have to make this an actual angry moment. You've broken my heart. Of course I'm most excited. You asked what I'm most excited for. Of course it's Devil May Cry 2. Not. The fact that there is a Deadly Premonitions 2 has me bamboozled. And I don't know if I want to play it or not. That has caught my attention probably the most out of everything because it was so unexpected. But Luigi's Mansion 3 still looks better and better every time I see it. I will be playing that. Now, our two main points of discussion right here, right now. Banjo-Kazooie in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was also revealed in this with its release date, which was immediately.
Yeah. Oh, it's out now. Download it.
We can give you some news on when you can play as Banjo-Kazooie, and the release date is today.
And thankfully, there was no scheduled maintenance.
Oh, gosh, that was a disaster, wasn't
it? Poor Joker.
How have you found playing Banjo-Kazooie on Super Smash Bros.?
I've not had a chance to play as Banjo-Kazooie because you played as Banjo-Kazooie while I played as other characters. You're like, play as Kirby. I want to see what Kirby looks like when he eats Banjo-Kazooie.
Of course, every time there's a new character, you must eat him with Kirby.
Yes.
To see what Kirby looks like. And
it's very cute.
I'm not disappointed.
Kirby had a little backpack. And then Kazooie pops out, and so you kept using the fart eggs on me.
The fart eggs.
That's what they were. Thank you very much. They were the fart eggs. And so
fart
I got to return the favour because you shoot eggs as Kazooie when you take that power as Kirby.
I'm actually disappointed.
Really?
I thought Kirby would have had a banjo hat, and in his backpack would have been a little Kirby with a Kazooie hat. But it isn't. It's just a Kazooie.
Well, you're not one of the designers for the game, are you?
Disappointed. I love the fact, all the music, the level, the characters, the abilities that Banjo has in Smash Brothers. It feels like a perfect fit. I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it. Personally.
Yeah. I think he's a really cute addition. One that feels kind of natural to have in that environment too.
Yeah. So at its core, Smash Brothers has become, somebody had a news article about it on some website, saying that Smash Brothers has basically become video games, the video game, because there's that many mascots, characters, intellectual properties. I don't think we're ever going to see a crossover of this magnitude ever again, because Smash Brothers Ultimate may be the pinnacle of the roster for Smash Brothers. Even if they make another one in the future, I don't think they will have this many crossovers involved.
Yep. So, sorry, Marvel, you don't have the biggest crossover in history. That goes to Super Smash Bros.
I'm just glad that Sonic the Hedgehog, Banjo-Kazooie, Solid Snake, Cloud Strife in the same game is so strange, but I love it. They can all fight for my affection, and I can feel loved and powerful. And no, that's not how we should treat our lesser minions.
Well, the whole concept of the game is that you are playing with toys, so that in that world anyone can cross over with anyone. So it's kind of funny though that when you've got that boss fight of fighting against the giant hand, it's like almost Toy Story-esque.
Yeah.
The toys are fighting back.
Rebellion.
Very meta.
So finally, we were just discussing earlier, the Wii U failed. It's you cannot deny it. As a console, it did not deliver the goods. Third-party developers didn't want to go near it. They launched it mid-production cycle, opposed to the 360, the PS3, and then the PS4 and the Xbox One. Both launched later on after the Wii U and obliterated its sales almost instantly. It is the modern-day equivalent of the Dreamcast, where Sega did the exact same thing, broke that development cycle, and paid the price. The Wii U did that as well, but thankfully Nintendo has enough money. They have enough gold coins in the Mushroom Kingdom that they could recover from that nicely with the Switch. One of the somewhat surprising success stories out of the past couple of generations of console gaming. Now, there have been a lot of the big titles that launched on the Wii U that I think have made a very nice, comfortable home for themselves on the Switch. Like Bayonetta, Donkey Kong Country, Captain Toad, of course Captain Toad, Hyrule Warriors, New Super Mario Bros. U, and Luigi Brothers U, whatever that's called, but that was a fantastic 2D Mario game that did not get enough love because it was on a bad console.
Yeah.
These games that get launches and now are on something bigger and better, just like Tokyo Mirage Sessions will be, there's a couple more that are coming out, but I think there's still a few that are missing that need to make the jump. And do you agree?
Totally. I'll tell you all about them after this.
Share the love. Follow us on Twitter at Brendo Jem. That's BRENDOJEM.
It is so nice to see the Nintendo Switch kind of almost saving a few titles from the failed Wii U. I'm really, 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 really glad that Tokyo Mirage Sessions is kind of getting a second chance.
Yep.
And because I feel a little bad, I enjoyed playing it, but I didn't enjoy using the controllers for the Wii U to play the game. So now that it's on the Switch, I think I'll be more inclined to actually sit down and play it properly.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the ergonomics of that gamepad on the Wii U either. It had its bonuses. The only time I really, really liked it was when I was playing Zombie U. And apart from that, no.
It would have worked really well for, I don't know, Pokemon Snap if that ever got rebirthed. That was something that I always pitched. But hey, no one's listening to Jem's ideas apparently, so that's still unheard. Come on, Nintendo. Step up your game.
There are still some games that do definitely need to make the jump from the Wii U to the Switch.
Yeah. Pikmin 3 is one that jumps to mind.
Yep.
Pikmin.
The whole Pikmin series could easily make the jump because it was originally a GameCube game. Pikmin 2, and then I had them on the Wii, so they had motion controls, which then I played on the Wii U, and so really you're only one generation away, even though it's a GameCube to Wii U to Switch.
Yeah.
It's playable on the Wii U as it is, so you can just jump that one extra generation, and then you can have the whole Pikmin trilogy on the Switch. I think it would be a winner.
Chicken dinner.
Well, not. I was going to say Pikmin dinner because they often get eaten. Super Mario 3D World as well, another one. Although you, of course, have the great Super Mario Odyssey on the Wii U, on the Switch. I'm getting my consoles mixed up now. On the Switch, Mario Odyssey has large, expansive, open worlds for Mario to explore and possess things with his little demon hat. But Super Mario 3D World has one thing that's very important in my enjoyment of Mario games in the past couple of years. 4-player cooperative. Couch co-op.
Yes, the bubble game. When I believe when you have like Steve and Mel over, like we would bubble a lot because you guys would be blitzing ahead of us, and through some of the more treacherous parts of the levels, we'd just be like, okay, bubble time, and float over to you while you guys did all the really hazardous bits.
Super Mario Odyssey is more of an open world exploration, and sure, you can see somewhere and you're like, how can I get up there? I liked the gameplay of Mario 3D World, where every level was like its own little self-contained obstacle course, and much more tighter, felt more traditional Mario. Sometimes that's a good thing. Not every game has to have big, open, expansive worlds for you to explore.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to try and get A to B. Here's the challenge. Can you make it?
Totally. I think too many developers want to try to be everything instead of being the kings of what they're good at.
Yeah.
And that can be the downfall for a lot of developers. We've seen so many of them trip on trying to then copy somebody else instead of being true to themselves. Nintendo hasn't really flopped too hard on their face as far as those sorts of genre switches, but they are still the kings of platforming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes sense to not give that up.
Trust me, as a Sonic fan, I know all too well about trying to mix other genres into your games to disastrous results. King Arthur as Sonic the Hedgehog is not something anybody wanted.
No.
Platinum Games, The Wonderful 101 is a game that I have not played ever.
I honestly hadn't heard of it.
You play as a group of 101 little superheroes that can all combine into a giant hand or a big wacky thing. Platinum Games make a lot of combat-heavy games like Bayonetta, like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, those sort of high-paced action games. And they made one for the Wii U that, as you've just shown, not many people knew about. And I never bought it. It looks like it could be a hit on the Switch, and I think it should make the jump if you want to milk a little bit more sales out of a game that did not quite deliver to the degree it should have. Platinum games never disappoint. I can't think of the last time they made a flop, but if nobody buys the game...
Yeah. Can be one of those hidden gems, like a diamond in the rough that no one really gave the time of day to, that deserves better. So hopefully they can find a second life on the Switch.
Yeah. And finally, there's just one other one that I think needs to make the jump. There are plenty of good games out there. Over all the generations, every Nintendo console has had Legend of Zelda games, and nowadays they keep jumping across with ports. You can play Majora's Mask on the 3DS, you can play Twilight Princess on the GameCube or the Wii, and then on the Wii U. And I think that the Wind Waker, in particular, which was originally, again, a GameCube game that got a Wii U remaster, that's an easy fix to get across to the Switch and make a lot of money. Because that's something I want to play again. And if I can play it on the Switch, all the better than the Wii U. Twilight Princess HD is another one people might want, but I didn't enjoy that Zelda game, so I have no interest in ever going anywhere near that again. That had the terrible introduction that was slow, and you played as stupid Wolf Link. I didn't like it.
There's probably, I would imagine, a bit of a cult fan base, though, for that game.
Oh, for sure. It's just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you have it. Nintendo talk done and dusted. The Switch going from strength to strength, the exact opposite of what happened to the Wii U, and we're just hoping that some of these underappreciated games from, I guess, technically last generation and a half a generation, I don't even know what to even call the Wii U, but if good games can be enjoyed by many people, that makes the gaming lovers happy.
Totally. On a side note, well, kind of a similar vein, but like a kind of a branch.
Yep.
Would you choose any games from other consoles that maybe didn't do so well or didn't get as much love, or maybe like a PC game that was kind of really only found on Steam or something?
No, forget the PC games. You and I are both fans of the PS Vita.
Uh-huh.
And the PS Vita to the Switch is basically the next step up.
Oh.
Imagine how many great Vita games that were not appreciated by the public, just like the Wii U titles we were talking about, that could make the jump. Imagine the whole Zero Escape series across on the Switch. Imagine Danganronpa series on the Switch. If things got really interesting and Atlas wanted to license them out, imagine Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5 on the Switch. These things could happen, and they would make Jem make a very weird bird call, like she just made multiple times. Creep me out. I guess that idea caught you off guard, but you liked it.
I hadn't thought of the Vita. I was just thinking of like other older games. I would love to see some of like the older original like Xbox games and stuff come back and be redone a little bit.
You give us a new coat of paint on KOTOR 1 and 2 on the Switch, I'd be settle your tea kettle.
Come on, I'm drooling.
I follow a lot of people who appreciate the PS Vita on Twitter, which is why oftentimes they refer to the Switch as like the Vita 2.0, basically. The Vita pioneered a new generation of powerful handhelds, and the Switch is basically that, but you can also put it on the TV.
Yeah.
So, again, you could do that with the Vita as well, with the PSV TV, but that's fine. We don't have to talk about that little experiment either. So there are many options of games that will make it to the Switch. I have no doubt so many great games that are unexpected will make it to the Switch. I'm kind of interested to see what makes it.
All right, what would be your top pick from Vita then?
Probably the Zero Escape series, a game that I've adored.
Mm-hmm.
You can play it on the PS4.
Well, the first iteration in that series was, or at least the first two, technically, were on Nintendo.
Yes.
So that wouldn't be completely a far reach or like unbelievable mix.
I agree.
It'd be almost like a homecoming.
Exactly. I would like it. And the more people who play that game series, the better. And if you do play them, go in blind and have no spoilers. Please. For your own benefit.
So good.
So there you go.
My head's swimming with like games now that I want on the Switch. Nintendo, you'll be receiving a really long letter from me. Please
Letter? You're going to mail it to them?
Oh, they'll take it more seriously that way.
How formal. All right, we've looked far into the future. Let's draw our eyes back to the near future as we talk our future tense gaming goals. The next 7 days, the gaming lovers will set their sights on what exactly?
Greedfall.
Greedfall? Reviews haven't even launched yet.
Greedfall.
The game
Greedfall.
launches tomorrow. All right, that's it. That's your gaming goals.
Bye. Go get Greedfall. Goodbye. Wait. Are we done?
Well, you're done. I can finish this off without you.
Bye now. JB, better be open.
Well, somebody is very excited for Greedfall, the new Western RPG. Looks a bit like a Dragon Age-ish, crossed with The Witcher, crossed with a bit of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It looks good. Early reports do have it as a good game, so I think Jem will be happy. As for me, however, I'm sort of aimless and wandering with my gaming goals right now. I have no idea what I'm going to play next. I've finished 2 enormous games. It has left me with a large opening to fill. There's a big boots to fill in my gaming goals. What am I going to play? I guess the first thing that comes to mind would be to finish off Yakuza 0. And that's been on my to-do list for a long time. So I'll probably target that, maybe play something a bit shorter. In fact, something else has just come to mind. My gaming goals for this week, I think I'm going to finally play, finally, it came out like 2 weeks ago, Telling Lies, the next game from the maker of Her Story. Sam Barlow has done it again, another game that is sort of like a mystery, watching video clips, trying to solve what really happened, figure out characters' motivations, who did what, who knows what. I love that sort of stuff. I'm going to be taking notes with that game. Telling Lies will be my primary target this week because I have waited to play that until I beat the games I was playing, and now they're done, so it's moved to the top of the list. Excellent. I guess we're done. She's literally gone to buy the game. She's gone to buy Greedfall. So I will finish this podcast myself. I've been Brendo.
Wait.
Oh, she's back.
I need the credit card.
I've been Brendo.
I'm in Jem. And I need the credit card.
Well, hang on. You need to say one word first.
Chowski.
Wait, that's my word. Sayonara, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. For more episodes or to watch some live stream gaming, visit thegaminglovers.com.